Welcome back to the channel, guys. Donnie D back at you. So today I'm going to be talking about what it's like to be a contractor, and in this case, residential construction contractor, which I am. So this is where I have experience about in that field. So I'm gonna go over, like what's the pros and what's the cons of being a contractor, and I might go into detail about, as I read things off here, about what's my point of view, what's my opinion, things like that, and how it really is, being a contractor. And I'll start off by saying it's not easy. That's why most people would rather get a job and work for someone or another business, whatever it is, because they feel like it's more secure, and if you get laid off, you got unemployment and insurance, all that kind of stuff. So there's pros and cons. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go through the pros first, then the cons. I'm gonna go with that, okay? You can make your own hours. So essentially you're your own boss when you have your own business. You can do what you want when you want, but everyone answers to someone. Remember that. And for me, being a contractor, I answer to the client. So remember, just because you're your own boss doesn't mean you can do anything anytime. You do have to answer to someone. As simple as that. So what else? So you got flexibility. Like I said, you make your own hours. You can do what you want when you want, but really there's a limit to it all. So there's a little give and take with that. At the end of the day, I want to make sure that I'm there for my family. After I'm there for my family, I gotta make sure the client's taken care of, so they're completely satisfied with their project, and we'll be able to serve people like them in the future. Okay, so what else? So we have, obviously, is a higher potential of making a lot more revenue, a lot more money for yourself. So that comes with a risk, but you have, how much you want to make is really how much you want to put into it. And the sky is the limit, so it's really up to you. It's not like when you work for someone, there's a limit how much you can make in that position, and that's it. So having your own business, it's a really nice pro. You can make as much as you want, but it takes work. Simple as that. You may earn more than employees. Now, most of the time you do. It really depends what your business is like, but sometimes you have a business, and a lot of contractors actually make less than their employees because they're trying to keep the business machine running, paying their guys, and they're making very little. If you look up the stats in the US, as my buddy Tom Rebirth from the Contractor fight, he says, which is true. Most residential type contractors in the US actually make less than $50,000, just because a business takes in a couple $100 grand a year or whatever revenue top line, doesn't mean the person who owns it is making all that. There's a lot of overhead, a lot of expenses that come with having your own business. So you may pay lower income tax, and I can't really elaborate on that too much because I'm not an accountant, bookkeeper, one of those, but you may pay less in tax. It really depends how your business is set up. Mine personally is an LLC. I've had good success with that. I pretty much let my accountant handle how the taxes get filed and whatnot, but I know that I'm an LLC. That's as far as the pros go. I believe that's all I have written down here. That's pretty much it. The main thing is it's unlimited earning potential. You can be your own boss. It's flexible hours, things like that. That's the pros, and that's why a lot of people do it, because mainly a lot of people do it because they can make a hell of a lot more money, but there comes with risk with that. So now we're going to go into the cons, and what I have written down is actually there's more cons than there is pros, right? What kind of cons are we dealing with here? Well, you have a lot of uncertainty. For example, from my experience, being in the construction field since '99, it is now 2021, early 2021. Usually in the winter, no matter what kind of construction business you have, at least for me, I've always been the residential carpentry tile aspect of it. It usually slows down in the winter time. So for example, the leads that I have in November were in the mid-20s, and how many leads I got in December was less than 10. So, you know, it's a lot slower, and you know, that's how it goes in the winter. So you have to make sure you make enough for when it's productive, when it's warm out, to be able to get through the winter months and all that kind of stuff. So there's a lot of uncertainty that it comes with. Another con is, like, a lot of people looking from the outside see that you're a contractor and maybe you made a couple $100,000 or you know, a couple million that year that your business took in, but they don't understand how many hours you put in, how many years of effort, and this and that, and the ups and the downs. And it takes up, I mean, it is very, very difficult. And like I said, that's why most people can't handle it, because if you can't handle the lowest of lows and the highest of highs, that's going to be up and downs. Being an entrepreneur and being a contractor, really, it's going to be real difficult for you to last in this business. Now, I don't know the exact stats, but I know that construction is one of the you know, the most failed, like, entrepreneur type field. Most contractors will fail, you know, within the first 1 to 10 years. Is a very high percentage of them not lasting and failing. Thankfully, I've been able to get through the first 5. I'm in my 6th year right now, and it definitely has been a roller coaster, but you know, it has, you know, slowly been getting better. You know, let's say you are a contractor or a aspiring contractor and you're watching this, I really highly suggest you invest in yourself and learn as much as you can about the business aspect, because from my background, I came from being an installer and I knew very little about the business aspect. And you know, you really have to know the business aspect, because once you start your own business, you're not a craftsman anymore, you're really like a businessman. So that's why there's a lot of contractors that start that have no experience in the field, and they start a business and do real well because they know how to run the business and they hire installers that are good to work for them. So let's say you are an installer, you want to start, make sure you learn a good chunk about the business, so when you get started, you don't fail. Because from my experience, I actually started my business, you know, a few years before I did this one, and I just didn't have enough leads come in. There wasn't enough work, and I had to stop. So I had to go and work for a few guys, and then I eventually went back on my own. So I kind of had to learn the hard way. So make sure you invest in yourself, learn as much as you can, read books, join programs, whatever it is you can do that you can afford to do, you know, within your means to better yourself and make sure you know what you're doing. Another con here, there's no career development. So it's just, you know, you and your company. Maybe you have, it's just yourself, maybe you got 50 guys. Well, there's no career there. So career development type, like you get a job, you start from the bottom and work up to the CEO, it's all you. So if that's important to you, it's not going to be something you want. Another one, there's no job security. So, you know, there is no job security. I have work now, I might not have work in the future. I might have nothing coming in the future. So there's a really big uncertainty when it comes to being a contractor, and a lot of people just can't handle it. They want to know that they have that job to go to, that paycheck coming. It is a lot of uncertainty, so it's another hard one to deal with. No employer provided benefits. So if you're not married or whatever, or your wife doesn't work, well, guess what? You got to pay for your medical benefits. And I'm in Jersey, so we're talking at least $1,000 a month for a family if you got kids or whatever, if not more. I'm lucky enough to have a wife to have benefits, so I don't have to deal with that. But not as many people as lucky as I am. So you know, paying for medical benefits can get expensive, just because, like, for example, let's say someone makes 50 grand a year and they get medical benefits. Well, that medical benefit package alone is like 10, 20 grand a year worth of benefits that people don't see that. So another thing there. No unemployed insurance. So let's say I have no work for a month or a couple months or a couple weeks, whatever it is. Well, guess what? I don't have unemployment insurance with that. Nothing comes in. It's all on myself, the business owner. That's another thing. You have to be able to deal with that. No employer workman's. So workman's comp is on you. You have to have that policy. It's up to you. It's your business. You know, there's not someone else paying for it. It's all on you as the business owner. and it's not inexpensive. It is a very expensive thing to have. So another con here, risk of not being paid. So being a contractor, you want to do your best, but sometimes you get a client that doesn't want to pay for some odd reason. So that's really a risk that you have to deal with, and that's why, you know, you want to have contracts and all that to protect not only yourself but the client as well if you ever had to go to court. It's really, really important. A lot of contractors don't use contracts. Hey, and if you're comfortable doing that, fine, but if there's ever a problem and you're talking about a lot of money, you're not gonna get the money. It's, you know, you got bills to pay too. There's a big risk there. So another thing why, you know, being in business is not as easy as people think. Okay, so as far as the pros and cons, that's just what I have written down now. I bet I can make another video in the future of you know, what else I can think of, but just a few things off the top of my head is, you know, being your own business, you put a lot of, if you want this thing, a business to succeed, it takes a lot of time and a lot of money. Okay, it doesn't come quick. I put countless hours a week within my marketing, making these videos like I'm doing here, my website. I mean, there's just so many things behind the scenes that go with not just for, you know, doing the job, producing the job, but everything else that has to do with the business. So if you're not willing to sacrifice a little time here and there to make your business grow, then I don't recommend going into business for yourself. It's not a 9-to-5 thing. You don't just say, okay, it's just Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. Guess what? No, people will call you whenever it is. I get calls all weekend long, and people want that response, okay? Even if you can't talk to them, you gotta respond to them, send them a text, an email, let them know you get back to them. You can't just let it go to the wayside, because as my buddy again from the Contractor fight, I keep mentioning his name, Tom Reber. If you haven't seen his videos, you should check him out. That you know, we live in a microwave world now, that people want things instant. So when they call you, you need to answer the phone. Even if you're on a job site and you're doing whatever, you got to stop and answer the phone. And if it's not a good time for you, you have to let them know that it's not a good time, but that you will get back to them, and their phone call is very important to you. Okay, you can't just throw it to the wayside. It's really important. You know, everyone wants an answer right there and then. They want their job done. They don't understand that you have other things going on. It just doesn't happen that quick, but you just have to explain it to them. Like I said, you know, if the phone rings, you got to be there to answer people's questions all the time. And you know, it's a business, so you have to keep it moving. There's a lot of expenses with it, a lot that goes on behind the scenes. So that's all I got for you right now. I hope this video helped you, explain to you, at least from my point of view, what it's like to be a contractor, and in my case, you know, residential tile and bath contractor. I hope you enjoyed the video. Hit that subscribe button, hit that thumbs up, and while you're at it, hit that bell to let you know when I put out videos. I do one every single week, one sometimes twice a week. So I suggest you don't miss one. You might learn something, you might not. I don't know. You just got to check it out for yourself. Thanks for tuning in again, guys. Donnie D, signing off.